Hey. Look up, look out, keep up. I'm here with my homegirl, Nay Milton from As Told by Nay, the podcast. As told by Nay, the author as well. Go get her book. She can talk about that as well as many times as she wants. She can plug as many times as she wants as her show too. But like I said, you better listen. Actually, I'm gonna switch it up. I don't think that ever made sense. You better shut up. You better listen up. And you better keep up. So let's get into it. There are topics. I think Cliff, actually recovery Cliff, he is out right now. He's not feeling very well. And so that's why you can tell we're not the technical experts on the show this week. So we're gonna just give you what we're good at, hosting. Luckily for Cliff, he's good at hosting too, but again, he is more of the technical producer of this show. So we're gonna do our best. You'll see a bottom line, and you're just gonna see us deep dive into the topics that we are really good at. So without further ado, our first topic is on, and it's gonna lead. Actually, the theme of this whole episode is about body. Actually, you tell us the theme. You tell us the theme of this episode because I don't know how to name it for you. Go ahead. You're the one. You're the inventor of this theme this morning. You tell us what the tagline is.
Tagline. I don't know. I'm not good with taglines, and not even really good with themes. But what I will say is internet bullying. I want to say internet bullying because really that's what it comes down to. It's a way to do and say everything. You can have your opinions, you can have your thought processes about things, but the way that you deliver it's gonna make the difference. So
okay. So let's get
internet
into.
hugging.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, let's get into the video clip first of how we're going to segue into it. And so, yes, in particular, it is body shaming, cyberbullying. And obviously, we've talked about it before. We talked about Monica Lewinsky, and there's so many people, Amber Heard, different celebrities that are just harassed, like on the borderline, like Beyonce and Azalea Banks. And there's just all types of people that get like harassed online. There's people that troll, but it still doesn't give the right for people, even paparazzi. That's like the earlier version of all those, like, internet stalkers. But anyway, back to a politician who thought that this guy is in the middle of he's a Florida politician, a Florida representative, and he is a very big Trumper. His name is Matt Gaetz, and he's very offensive at all times. So you're about to hear a very offensive clip as well that does not that doesn't heed to Nay's philosophy of internet bullying. He's on the other side of the coin with that. Again, he's a big Trumper, and Trump is the biggest internet bully of all time. His wife had a campaign of cyberbullying herself, and it was hilarious. It was so hypocritical because it was like, yo, your husband is online every day, like, clapping at people, calling them like different names, coming at their wives, saying different, like, all like, Sleepy Joe. I don't even know. Like, I forgot what the nicknames for Hillary were. I forgot what all the Lion Ted Cruz. Like, he used to say all types of stuff on there. That's why it's weird. But anyway, Matt Gaetz is on that same type of level, and he is going through a huge child pedophilia ring charge against him. And he supposedly was taking underage women across state lines in a plane, and of the variety of like Jerry Epstein. So it's hilarious. There's a lot of people that side with this guy, but like they'll try to like bring up Hunter Biden, and not to say that like Hunter Biden doesn't do dirt. He's definitely a drug addict, definitely teeters around like illegal stuff. But I didn't vote for Hunter Biden. I voted for Joe, unfortunately. So when people come after the children, whether it's Melania, whether it's Jared, whether it's Chelsea Clinton, I just don't agree with it. But back to the subject, Matt Gaetz. Let's hear his audio clip of why he's super offensive and why we don't think that he'll be winning any awards against cyberbullying.
Have you watched these pro-abortion, pro-murder rallies? The people are just disgusting. Like, why is it that The women with the least likelihood of getting pregnant are the ones most worried about having abortions. Nobody wants to impregnate you if you look like a thumb. These people are odious on the inside and out. They're like 5'2", 350 pounds, and they're like, give me my abortions or I'll get up and march and protest. And I'm thinking, march? You look like you got ankles weaker than the legal reasoning behind Roe versus Wade. A few of them need to get up and march. They need to get up and march for like an hour a day, swing those arms, get the blood pumping, maybe mix in a salad.
I cannot.
A salad.
I cannot.
I want you to lead this. But I want to get to Olivia Giuliano real quick. So it's the person who Matt Gaetz is talking about is her name is, she's an abortion activist, and she on the picture, I wish that we could put up graphics, but she has bands off her bodies as her t-shirt, and that's the type of vibe she gives off. And he was talking about not wanting to impregnate. So again, I preface that he's I'm not saying he's a pedophile, but he's being charged as one at least. And Olivia Giuliano has a Twitter account, and she responded and she said, it's come to my attention, and she's bigger, by the way, if that's what anybody wanted to hear or visualize. It's come to my attention that Matt Gaetz, alleged pedophile, again, I said alleged, he hasn't been convicted of anything, has said it's always the odious 5'2", 350-pound women that nobody wants to impregnate who rally for abortion. I'm actually 5'11", 6'4" in heels. I wear them so small men like you are reminded of their place.
I know that's right, girl.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So yeah, no, you have the floor from there. I'm glad that she retorted.
So this is the thing that gets me. Whenever someone does not know how to argue their point, a lot, and I'm not going to say whenever someone, because this is a generalized statement, right? But a lot of people who don't know how to argue their point or their stance on a matter, they'll go to insulting someone. And it'll be, if you can't insult their intelligence, maybe because you don't know them, or maybe because of what they're doing, it immediately goes to what they look like. And here's where this whole body shaming thing comes into play, because this is something that society deems as appropriate. Did he say she looked like a phone? I heard that too. And I'm just like,
I thought it was a thumb.
Yeah, thumb. Either way, it's like,
but not at the same time.
What he was saying, like jokes, was kind of funny, but the matter definitely is not funny, because whether you think she's attractive or not has nothing to do with what she's trying to get across. And that is that this whole abortion situation is unethical, point blank, period. So her not being attractive to you has nothing to do with that. But because you have nothing else to argue, this is where we go. It's really sad though, because where does this mentality come from when we think about what's deemed as the standard of beauty? People have this unrealistic standard that beautiful looks like slim. It looks like maybe your face is aesthetically appealing, the certain height, certain body build, certain hair type, like, huh?
I was just saying what's up to all the crew from Crazy But True. I was saying hello to Billy Badass, Keith Jones, West Side, Diddy. Thank you. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just giving love to the people giving us comments.
West Side? That's my favorite.
Yeah, Billy. I think he said a thumb, which is like the same as like Grimace from McDonald's. I'm not trying to joke though, but I feel you. Elena, yes, thank you. Elena is joining us as audience development. And keep going. Sorry about that. I just wanted to show
media up. For sure definitely puts that stigma. So I know before you had mentioned Vince, that you can be kind of
insensitive to the
beauty, like beauty is important to you.
Oh yeah, right? Yeah.
So that is on a personal stance, which I think is completely fine. But something that I can say.
Oh, my bad. Did you pinpoint it? I didn't know what you were saying. I didn't know what I was agreeing to, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to agree anyway. But what in particular am I subscribing to? Yeah, I know.
that you seek beautiful people.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm very vain.
That you are very particular about.
Oh, yeah. I'm shallow.
You know, your attraction level to women that you
There's some
seek
people
out.
think I don't deserve to be that shallow. And to be honest, they're not that attractive.
I wasn't going to say it, but he said it first, so I'm going to now repeat after him. Vince has deemed himself as shallow.
I am shallow.
But I feel like that's a personal thing,
enough.
Right? Like when you're looking for you, who you want to date and what looks good to you, that's fine. That's because it's your preference. But what you don't see Vince doing is going online and saying, well, this is what beautiful is. And if you don't look like this, this is a bad thing. Or if you weigh a certain amount, because I've seen this too. I don't know if you have, but I've seen this meme and I've never seen you repost it or anything where they're like, if you're over 150 pounds, you're no longer a woman, you're a cow or some shit like that. And I've seen so many men post that and be like, yeah, in regards to it.
Yeah.
That is bullying. There's
agree.
A lot of people that are offended by that.
I agree. I'm not gonna lie. I am I'm trying to consider myself. So I've always said this. I think, and I know it's unfair, I think other people are the ones that can really judge you. Not really judge you. Of course, you should have a sense of yourself. But I would like to say that I am a former fat shamer, and I was hardcore. I was so hardcore that I lost one of my good friends. And I'm not saying I lost her. We still talk, but we should talk a lot. We should talk. And one of her, like 3 of her friends on separate occasions, because I noticed that she like drifted away. Thanks, Cliff. Oh man, yo, feel better, brother. Feel better for real, man. You and your family feel better. Seriously, we love you, Cliff. We're noticing the difference, and hopefully people still love the show without Cliff for just an episode. And same thing with Nay. When Nay was not with us last week, if it ain't something, I don't want it. I feel you, and I even like what West Side Diddy said. Let's put that back. Yes, thicker the better. I feel you. So anyway, back to my former self. So I even said that I was a former xenophobe, and I was in the wrong place for it too. I was in the most diverse borough. I was in a high school that was very diverse. And I was sitting there saying like, yo, if you're not speaking English, which there is no official language, by the way, if anybody really wanted to know their education and their history, our shared story, we don't have an official language. It's not English. And to be honest, it's the country is almost 33% Hispanic and Latin. And one day they're going to take over, and that's going to be the official language if you really want to get down to it. But the same thing when I get to body shaming, I was always saying those type of things. I always made jokes about it. I always I was disgusting, to be honest.
But why? Where did that come from? Like, what was the point behind it?
To unpack it, to be honest, I think, again, I'm very vain. So a lot of my family has a lot of obesity issues. And obese is very, very loose, by the way. Now that I've got more education on it, like BMI level is like very accentuated, like over analyzed and over focused on, hyper focused on. And so even myself, when I would like try to attain to it. So being obese is like pretty much like 50 pounds off, like 30 to 50 pounds off for what I know. I'm not a scientist, a nutritionist. So again, I always used to play on I made all the fat jokes, like, stepping in heels and you strike oil, ragu, all that stuff, especially in elementary school, middle school, high school. But again, I had a really good high school friend, and she was really big. And and again, her side friends told me that she was really offended by stuff that I was posting on Facebook and Twitter. And I was relentless at the time. At the time, I was just like, yo, jokes are jokes. It doesn't matter who's offended, this and that. She can't be that offended because like we go to, gatherings and stuff. And then one day, like she like phased herself out of my life pretty much. And I was really sad about it. And again, I didn't take credence into what they said at first. But then when I spoke to her, she was really timid about it and like really dodgy about it. And then finally, like there was one person that I didn't really like, and he was going to tell me the truth no matter what. And he was like, oh, no. she's not telling you the truth. She cried about it. She this and this.
Mm.
And that's when that's when I pivoted. I didn't pivot like right away. I didn't like go cold turkey, but it really like put in perspective to me like how much that was hurtful and how much, yeah, you can lose weight, but like I learned over. I'm 36 years old, by the way. I've learned about thyroid issues. I've learned about, you know, different complexities. I've learned about hereditary issues, like things that are passed down, especially being in the Black community, the high blood pressure, diabetes. So to make a long story short, like I said, I think I'm reformed. I think I'm reformed at this point. And I agree with you. I agree. It's disgusting, Matt Gaetz. Not even just like throwing stones at a glass house. He's a big pedophile. And I know he's only accused and alleged, but even like being around any of that stuff, like if you follow the stories about him, it's pretty gross. It's pretty gross. And I think it's really gross, again, where we can't celebrate all bodies. I don't get it. I know I'm vain and stuff, and that's why I think I'm corny, to be honest. I think I'm kind of vanilla, and I think that's a big reason why I don't get that much play. Because like I limit myself. There's so much more than like what we see in magazines and what we see on Instagram and stuff like that. There's really beautiful people out there, beautiful
Right.
women. And even though I don't subscribe, like I'm not attracted to trans, or I'm attracted to men and stuff like that. So like there's beauty in everything. That's what I'm saying. The eye of the beholder, and it shouldn't. And that's why I love watching different programs and different TV and film that either have like different looking people that like we haven't really had. Not even just like white people. Like I like seeing stuff of like regular looking people, and I think it actually is better stories, to be honest. Like whether they're like an average looking body, whether they're like, you know, the average looking face, they're not like as symmetrical as like what someone would say or something like that. Like I like that. I think a lot of people have character, and I think that just because you're not what other people think are beautiful, I think you still have a story to tell, and I still think you have a lot to show people. In my opinion.
Yeah, I just say death to this whole standard of beauty thing. Like, I'm a firm believer that everyone has preference, everyone has a type that they like, whatever the case may be, to each his own. And I'm here for all of that. You can say I don't like bigger people, you can say I don't like smaller people. But what I don't like is when we set that as you have to be beautiful to enter the conversation. That's bullshit, because if I'm talking to you about something, if there's a concern as a freaking citizen of the United States and something is happening and I have an opinion on it, I should not be shut out because you feel like I don't look the part. And I think that with that whole situation is where that stems from. Like, he's not the only person that said that. Like, oh, the main people worried about abortions is the people that's not getting pregnant anyway. That don't fucking matter, because as a woman, whether I want to be pregnant or not, that's exactly what we're talking about. Maybe I never wanted to be pregnant, and now you're telling me if something happens, that is no longer my decision. So having an opinion about, you know, what's going on in my life and where I live should not be based upon if you feel like I'm attractive or not. That's my whole thing. And it seems to be a lot of that happens when we get to talking about different topics. Like, because you don't look like the standard of beauty, then your opinion doesn't matter. And I think that's bullshit. Can't hear you. I don't know if you muted yourself.
I did. I didn't want to interrupt you. No, I definitely think that there's like taste and beauty out there, but I don't think there should be a standard. I don't think that like, and again, like I said, I'm corny. I think like when it comes to porn, when it comes to, I don't think I benefited from it. I don't think like just trying to look for the perfect woman or even the perfect sexual like experience and stuff like that. Like that's a problem too. Like a lot of women, when they're having intercourse in a cis relationship, usually, there's just like all these expectations to like, you know, do like some double backflip or something, or like, you know, spread it out my head. That's what I'm saying. No, there's freaks out there. Don't get me wrong. There's women that like, you know, subscribe to it, but like a lot of men really expect you to be like Jenna Jameson. They expect you to be like, you know what I'm saying? And even that, like the expectation of that, like it's like basically thinking that all your sexual experiences are going to be with a porn star, and it's not. It's a way different experience. They're way different looking people. They're way different like expectations. Like some women don't like doing that. Some women like just regular like missionary, like, you know, regular experience. Some men too, you know what I'm saying? It's a hyper experience. And like I said, with magazines, with images, with the things that we consume. I think that's a big reason why we think that there is a standard, and it's done on purpose. Obviously, we've
Oh yeah,
about it in
definitely
history
done on
books.
purpose.
Oh yeah, people have talked about it in classes, lots of education, lots of videos on it. Yeah, no, we are definitely conditioned to think that skinny is beautiful, that light is beautiful, that different hair is more beautiful than some other hair. I've had to be honest, I've gotten caught in this too. One of my good friends, he is of Latin descent, and he's my age, and he has braids now. He's had box braids, but he's very light. He's actually lighter than me. And he made a good point. Because he has like a certain European descent, I thought of it as like racial appropriation. It's not really, but maybe, who knows? I'm not absolute on it. But he was like, that's so weird because I am Dominican, and like, who's to say that like I can't use that a part of my culture? Like a lot of Dominican culture is Afro-Caribbean. And so I'm like, I mean, I disagree, but you make a really good point. Like what is that? Like who gets to like hold what culture? Like Bo Derek back in the day, she's white, and she used to wear braids, and a lot of people come at the Kardashians all the time because they're always wearing box braids, and supposedly like they act like they created it and stuff. So that's what I'm saying. Like there's all types of these like body images and these beauty standards, and like who is able to benefit from them, and it can be exhausting, but that's why we're here to talk about it.
For sure.
Who we got? We got Alex. Also, if we gave more people the tools to use their public voices responsibly, whether it's around beauty or politics, where we would have less people hiding behind screens, being shady. That's true. Those are the big ones. Those are the big internet bullies, the internet trolls, the anonymous sources.
Right.
Yeah, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about people? And they even, well, I don't even know what it's called. What is it called? NGT or something like that? I actually always wanted to ask a female their experience about that. Because, like, in my opinion, and this is coming from the ignorant male, y'all know that you're going to get those nasty people out there. Like the anonymous thing, like you get that link. And I've seen you guys. I've seen you go, yo, y'all wilding out. But you know that guys are gross. And like, so in my opinion, you're like, wow. So you're going to get like 5 like nice ones that you can actually post. And you're going to have to sift through it. Like, what was the point of all that? What was the point in like that whole anonymous thing?
I mean, and I hear what you're saying, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't make you feel away. Like, yeah, we know that people are going to be jerks. Yeah, we know there are some people out there that are rude and just say whatever and hide behind a screen. But that doesn't take away from the sting. That doesn't take away from the way that it makes you feel. Like, you do the anonymous thing. We know that the bullshit is coming, but it still makes us feel the way when we see it. I don't think that there's a rhyme or reason for that. It's just kind of like we were just talking about, people know that society has deemed this whole standard of beauty. So we know that we're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but for someone to say it or like make it known, it's like, oh.
So is it, so that the anonymous thing is a confidence booster, or like, because if
I
anybody that doesn't
did
know
it on my platform because I've noticed that some people feel more comfortable asking hard questions when they don't think that you know who it's coming from.
Mm-hmm. And is it really
anonymous? I
anonymous?
did it to give people opportunities. Yeah, it really is anonymous. It doesn't tell you where it came from. Gotcha. But I did it to give people the opportunity because I have a pretty like private life, and I know people want to know more about the Nay behind the screen. And so I felt like, okay, I'm going to just give y'all the opportunity to ask these questions that y'all want to ask, because y'all ask my friends anyway. Y'all ask my family members when y'all run into them. Like, I've had people come up to me and be like, some random person told me that they follow you on Instagram and they want to know blah, blah, blah. And it's like, all right, well, here we go. Ask away. And I tried to answer all of them as long as they weren't like too gross.
True. So for anybody that doesn't know, it's like Formspring. You ask anonymous questions, they send a link, and you're able to put it in your Instagram story. I haven't done it because I'm not mysterious. If any people, I'm all over the internet, so like, there's really nothing you can ask me that like I haven't probably touched already. And no, I agree with you. And so to be honest, I don't want to like simplify it, but it seems like I want to know like what people think, and I'll take the good and the bad with it. You know what I'm saying? If there's going to be some gross guys out there, if there's going to be people that are negative and stuff, like I'd rather like that's fine. I'll take it. I'll take it because I want to know people's anonymous feedback.
Yeah, and for me personally, I've got pretty tough skin, and so I think that that's why it's easy for me to put myself out here as far as like being a host of a podcast and a writer, and like I'm all over the internet too. And so of course the good does come with the bad, and I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah, word.
But everybody's not like that, you know, and there's some people who do take the chance to put themselves out there, and it can be a very crushing experience because people are mean and people are inappropriate and people are bullies. Like sometimes I don't think we realize what we're doing is bullying, where you feel like, oh, I'm allowed to have my opinion and I'm allowed to have my preference or say, but it's a way that you do and say shit. I don't know. That kind of goes into, is that censoring? What the hell ever? Like, I don't know.
I think the opposite is.
I don't know.
I think the opposite is. I don't think and they were realizing they were doing it when they were like precluding people that were looking different than like blonde, blue eyes, skinny, all those type of things. Again, the beauty standard. I think that was censoring because regular people were out there to begin with, especially when the country is 25% obese or like out of shape or whatever the case you want to. Or and actually, that's a good point too. That was another ignorance that comes out of my mouth too. In the pre-show, you were like saying that, and I agree with you. That's why I said BMI is overemphasized. There are people that are plus size models, Ashley Graham. There's plenty, and they're healthy. They're healthy. Like it does, and I agree with you in the pre-show, and you can touch on it more because that's what you were talking about. Feeling healthy. When I went into the pandemic, I made it a point not to look at the scale. And to be honest, I look at the scale too much to begin with. If you notice, and I'm not saying this is totally true for every doctor, I've never met a doctor that says, well, you better go look at the scale when you get home. They have a doctor's office for a reason. Like it's for them to keep a record. It's not for you. Like you're not supposed to be like, obsessed with your body weight like that. Am I in the triple digits? Am I this, that kind of stuff? So on purpose, and I used to look at the scale a lot on purpose in the pandemic, I was like, yo, I already know the deal. I already know that like I'm going to be eating more calories than I'm going to be burning. I'm just gonna depress myself. This is already depressing. Not being able to see my friends, not seeing some of my family, not doing. Me and Nay have known each other for a long time, and that's why I'm surprised that she never saw some of my disgusting fat humor, which I think is juvenile. On top of that, that's why another reason why, like, as my comedy has progressed, I try not to punch down as much. And we talked about that on one of the episodes, punching down on the trans community. And I just feel like it's just low hanging fruit at this time. There's just so many people out there. Like, why make them feel bad? That's not what comedy is about, in my opinion. Yes. Should there be no out of bounds? No. But like, you shouldn't be in the comedy room saying like this, like, ooh, I can't wait to like offend this person either at the same time. So what I'm saying is that they were censored for a long time. Regular looking people, not just what people think are fat or overweight or just pleasantly plump or just right or plus size or any like, positive way to actually not positive, more accurate and more modern. Like I know we talked about minority before and now it's called marginalized. That makes a lot more sense. We're not minorities, especially women when they call women minority, when they're the max of the country. So no, they're marginalized. So that's my opinion on all that.
Okay. So I definitely want to touch on the whole health journey and like all that when it comes to body positivity, the obesity, all of that. But before we get into that, are you able to play that reel that I did? Because I just kind of want to put that out there for the people and then piggyback off of it.
Where did you send it? You sent it in text?
Yeah.
I think so. Let me see. So you sent it to me personally? I don't see it.
I sent it to the Keep Up.
Oh, the Keep Up, gotcha. So I'll play it from there. So it's just going to do the audio.
Simmons. Yeah. Angela Simmons is a segment.
Yep, we're going to talk about it. But I decided to wait a little bit before I joined the discussion, but I'm here now. Over the last couple of days, looking at some of the comments and listening to some of the opinions that you people have about standard of beauty, I've been taking Miss Simmons up and through that. Miss Ma'am decided to give y'all a glimpse of her, unapologetically her. But we as a society are so used to seeing photoshops and filters. In reality, natural beauty looks like stretch marks, dimples, and a little cellulite. I can appreciate Miss Simmons for this body positivity. As a grown adult and curvaceous woman, she is expected to have a little jiggle and jank, a little wiggling, wow, a little shaking from the bacon. Y'all kill me with this false reality of perfection. I'm sorry to break it to you, but there is no such thing as completely evenly toned and smooth skin. Across the world, so many women are dissatisfied with their body and the cosmetic surgery rates are through the roof. And although I'm here for a little nip and tuck if that's what you feel you need, a lot of women get that work done and they're still unhappy because it wasn't the body that was making them feel that way in the beginning. People are so quick to judge. And the message that we're sending with that is the way that you are naturally made is not enough. We got to be better about being kind. If it's not your cup of tea, it's not your cup of tea. Just don't drink it. But you don't have to point out what you don't like about everybody. I stand for Miss Simmons, and I would encourage you all to stand and walk in your truth, whatever that looks like. Be authentically and beautifully you. I really wish they could see the visuals because when I tell you Angela is a
Go
baddie,
see her videos. That's what it is. Go see Nay's video. You got to give her view count up. Got to get her view count up. Oh, there we go. Crazy but True, my favorite podcast. We love Angela Simmons more than Yo Gotti. I get you. No, I don't know who Yo Gotti is. Is there Yo Gotti? I think it's Yo Gotti. But first of all, I'm biased. She's from Jamaica, Queens. She Rev Run, go, represent Southside, Hollis. And I used to watch Run's house. And as a matter of fact, my cousin, they live near them. They live near Saddlebrook. Is it Saddlebrook? Or Saddle River? Forgot. It's one of them. JoJo, all those guys, Diana, Diggy. He's like a famous rapper now too. Did you freeze? Or are you just like,
I'm just listening.
Look at that. I'm so used to people being so ADD. I'm like not used to watching people focus on what people are saying. But no, I'm with you. And even if she did work, who cares? Chris Rock made a good joke though. This is like kind of the anti this. I went to the special last week and he said money. He said money. What money does for me is what you think plastic surgery does for you. And he was talking to women. He was like, women. He's like, rich women. He goes, or women that can afford plastic surgery. He goes, what you think plastic surgery does for you, money does for men. I was like, oh man, what do you think about that? It's kind of on the vibe of what you were talking about.
What he said?
He was saying being dissatisfied with plastic surgery. He said that's not even the body they were looking for. When I have money, I know that's the money I'm looking for. I know, like, when it's in my hand and I'm able to buy things and I have more of it. And he also said something too, to be honest. He said, and obviously Chris Rock is full of quips and one-liners, so you can't just judge it off what my telephoning of his comedy special. Go watch his comedy special if you really want to know. But one of the things he said is women get money to be desired. To be admired. And men have money to be desired. He made a good example, well, in my opinion, a good example about Jay-Z and Beyonce. He said if Beyonce was working at Burger King, Jay-Z could date Beyonce. If Jay-Z was working at Burger King and Beyonce was Beyonce, no dice. No dice. And so I hate to be like on that level. Yeah, what do you think about that? What do you think about like, the plastic surgery part? Because you said like some people are not satisfied. And what do you think about the desire and the admire comment from Chris Rock?
I guess I could kind of agree with that, but then that kind of goes back to what I said, societal standard of beauty, like that applies to men too. True. So men feel like I can be ugly as long as I got money and we good to go. And for a lot of people, that's correct. And women feel like with money, like that saying money doesn't solve problems. Money literally will solve every problem that I have in my life. Like literally, if I had unlimited supply of money, I would be the happiest person on this earth because every problem that I have, money could solve it. So I guess I would kind of agree with that a little bit. But again, If it's your cup of tea, drink it. If it's not, leave it on the table. So I'm definitely gonna sip that tea because I can agree with that. I definitely can agree with that.
And I can agree with you. That's me. Like I used to joke on, and I still joke. I still love to be controversial. My favorite. I just showed you my favorite comedian is Dave Chappelle. But if I ever did get into stand up, my comedy would be different. It wouldn't be like just making fun of different communities. Like if it's part of it, that's fine. But that's never been my comedy. I've never. Well, actually, my bad. In the beginning, when I felt I was more rudimentary, when I felt like I was more into the toilet humor and stuff. So. Like you said, when people don't have something of substance, they punch the gut pretty much. They go for the jugular. They go for like people's looks and stuff like that. And to me, that's lazy comedy. Unless you're like really good at it, that's really lazy comedy. If like remember D.L. Hughley used to like point into the crowd, and he's really good at it. He's really good at it. So like that's like okay, great. But then when everybody was doing it, it was like okay, now what are we doing? Are we just trying to make the whole audience feel awkward? Are we trying to make them feel bad? Like, so that's not my type of comedy. What's her name made a good point too. Have you ever seen Veep or what's her name? So Julia Louis-Dreyfus is from Seinfeld, and she's had a great television career. She also had another hit show, Adventures of Christine, and then she had a really big hit show on HBO called Veep, and she was the first female vice president in the fictional world. And she curses all the time. She makes fun of people all the time. But she said in an interview, she was like, but that's not my comedy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not like that's a character. But she goes, as far as comedy, as far as writing, hearkening back to what I said before, I don't go in the room and I say, I want to make fun of this community. You know what I'm saying? Like, if there's a joke in there, that's cool. But like, I don't say to myself, that's where she says there's the line. You know what I'm saying? So like, if someone dedicates like a whole segment to whatever community, the able community, the bigger community, I don't know, trans community.
The bigger community.
I don't know what they're called, to be honest. I'm not. Go ahead, you tell me. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. Anybody tell me. Nobody's
I don't think there is a. I fucking hate
average body community.
Hate titles. Like I don't understand it. Why we gotta just? They're fucking people. Everybody's fucking people.
You
like. There's so many different ways to put people into categories. Don't put me in no fucking box. And like that's my whole thing.
Okay.
And I'm not even saying
fit in a box. I would be like my elbow.
I'm not even saying you specifically, but I just think like with everything and everybody, people are very sensitive, and things being said and done come across harder now because everything is labeled. And there's these different little boxes and these different little categories that they want people to fit into. And this is where the issue comes. If you don't fit into this box or you don't fit into this thing, people then have all of these, where do I belong type things. And I think that that's a big hang up too. And we got to get away from that. Like people are people. In my eyes, people are people. I try not to use labels. That's why when all of this different, the LGBTQ, and when they try and put, okay, we're not going to call, like I never even heard that. We're not calling them minority anymore. It's marginalized. Or when they call, like everything is called something these days. And I'm just like.
Well, I don't have a problem with that, but I can see where it can get confusing. But for me, it's inclusivity. Just like I was saying, like the average bodies were not really included in Hollywood for a long time, or anybody different.
Is it really inclusivity though, if we're still putting it in a box and giving it a category?
Yeah, actually, yes. So for instance, when we used to do the census, and it was just white, black, and that's it, to be honest. And then like nobody else got to like, really be recognized. Native American, Alaskan, freaking Pacific Islander. That's different, like than just putting Chinese. And to be honest,
racially, I'm talking about now I have to click. I got to check black. Then I got to check woman. Then I got to check bigger community. Then I got to check I'm from Florida. Then I got to check I'm the first college graduate of my generation. Then I got to check I was, like it starts to become.
Well, how do you keep track of stuff then? How do you keep track of stuff?
What do you mean?
So again, I was talking about the census, and when it comes to voting and it comes to things that like areas of needs of states and municipalities, you have to keep track of those things. You have to.
Well, that's different, Vince. That's talking about on a if you're keeping track of the people that live in a country, sure. But me having a conversation with you, we don't have to talk about the fact that I'm from Florida and I'm the firstborn granddaughter on this side, and I'm also a part of this, and I'm Nay, you're Vince. I can see you. I see what you look like. Why do we have to label what's happening? And I feel like that's what we do as a society. If we're doing something to keep track of what's happening here in the country, cool. But online, on social media, everybody trying to fit into these boxes and address everybody in these different boxes is like, why are we doing that?
I think that's actually a perfect question, Alex. Thank you. We've done a radio show together too. We went to school together, but I think that is perfect. So yes, I believe in inclusion, and I think what you're saying is tokenism. I think you're right. Like, why do we need to just check a box? You know what I'm saying? Why do we just like need to like include something just to include, or label something just to label it? I agree. I do agree that we overlabel things, but I do think things need to be labeled. But I agree with you. We do like go above and beyond to make ourselves be different, when difference is beautiful, to be honest. But like when we're trying to make it seem like we're like inhuman, to be honest, like that's when not a problem. That's when I think we're going overboard. But I don't have like an overall problem with it, but it's all good. Are you ready for Chris Rock and Will Smith? You can.
We definitely did not even touch what we were supposed to be touching right there.
What? I'm so sorry. What were we touching? Who, me?
No, I saw something. It's not, but no.
Oh, go for it. Go for it. Whatever we. Oh no, we don't have to. We don't have to segue anything. Go ahead.
We were. So I had you play that Angela Simmons clip because outside of people talking about
My bad, by the way. Go ahead. I will mute me too.
Talking Angela about Simmons. Making people feel like they have to look a certain way to enter the conversation or have a conversation or have an opinion about things that are going on. They also make people feel like they have to look a certain way and be a certain way to present, period. And I thought it was so funny to see how people attack celebrities. You would think that, with popularity and the money, like they were off limits, but no, like everyday ordinary people attack the celebs as well. And I would see a whole bunch of back and forth about this whole Angela Simmons thing, and they started to put her in the box with Lizzo. And so it's like, at what point do we let people be who they're going to be, live how they're going to live, and not attack? Because what I was saying in the pre-show in regards to that is, you don't know what people's situation is. You assume because they look a certain way that they are a certain way, and that's not true. So for people to say, I saw someone post under that comment, under that post in specific, that we got to stop promoting unhealthy lifestyles, saying that if you're overweight, you're unhealthy, which is completely not true. Or that if you're a bigger plus size person, you're not living correctly. That's what they said. Not living correctly. And so I just wanted to piggyback off of that to say, you just never know what people's lives are like. Like, I'm a very active person. I wouldn't say I'm like overly health conscious, but I am because of health problems in my family. I've had like health issues starting to come about because I'm getting older now. And it has nothing to do with the fact that I'm not lazy. It's not that I just eat whatever, because I eat pretty good for the most part. Like I said, very active. I dance, I work out. I'm in the gym like 3 times a week, and I'm still plus size. So that has nothing to do with how I live my life. It's just genetics. I really don't even know how to explain it, other than I could probably hang with a lot of you in the gym and you wouldn't be able to tell that probably just looking at me. So when people say certain things like that, it's just very ignorant, number one. And what is the point? Because you downing someone is not going to help the situation if it was a situation to be helped. So being kind and not coming across as judgmental, I guess, was the whole point of that conversation, was like bringing that conversation to the table, that people should be more kind and be more in a situation of promoting encouragement. And if like back in the day, because I know everybody's heard this before, don't got nothing nice to say, just don't say shit at all.
I would not be here if that was the case. I wouldn't exist. I wouldn't exist. No, I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Let's see some of these comments. Hit the like. That's right, Mina. Please, guys, hit the like button. Subscribe. Subscribe to our personal channels as well. Our personal shows, As Told by Nay. Cliff has a bunch of shows, by the way. It's the Wiggers podcast. He has Regis and Cliffy Lee. So many. He does fight commentary. And so, yeah, you can catch Nay on your main platform is Facebook Live as well, right?
YouTube.
Oh, and YouTube. That's right.
Channel,
just like this.
Yep.
Has a great following. Please add to that. So as far as so it does do that, by the way. Society still works that way, unfortunately. Even when I used to go to clubs, like I went to a club in Las Vegas one time with a girl at the time, and they let her in free. They were going to let her in for free. And then when I came up, I was dressed to the nines, all that good stuff. They were like $200. And then she was like, well, I already said. And then they looked at me again. They were like, okay, fine. And then and that happened a lot in New York. In New York, I would see people get like bouncers because they want good looking people in the club They want, like, when they're taking pictures, people, again, we talked about this last week too, that like people, even black people, they've done studies, they like seeing white people on screen more for some reason. Not all black people, but we're so conditioned that we're just so used to seeing like white people, Brad Pitt, so like all these guys and stuff, like Angelina Jolie. I know those are like the top of my head, but like we're just so used to it. We're like, those are the movie stars, just like the beauty standard. Oh, those are the ones that should be in the magazine. Those are the ones that should be the porno stars or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Those are the ones that should be getting our attention. And that's why I was saying average. That's why I was saying the average body and stuff like that, not just in like, weight and like in look and stuff like that. Because again, inclusivity. They've always been part of the story. We've always been part of the story. I consider myself an average person too. We have always been part of the story. It's not always been the good looking people. So that's why we think that like it's this exclusive club.
Who?
Say it again.
I said who?
Sorry. As far as like an overall society, I didn't mean like
I'm being funny, Benson.
Oh, my bad. As an overall society, that's why I think like at some point in our lives we thought that we weren't good enough to be in certain spaces, and that some people were the gatekeepers, and they're really not.
There's definitely a standard of beauty that is, and you used a great word, conditioned. We are conditioned to believe that we're supposed to look a certain way, act a certain way, be a certain way, and that is what's considered beautiful and acceptable, and this is what people want to see. And I think that is very important that we
all facts, Billy. All facts, Billy.
I think that we should
keep going.
I think that we should really subscribe to the idea that we're supposed to all look different. Like you said, difference is great. It's important. We shouldn't want to aspire to all think the same, look the same, be the same. Like the world will not be what it needs to be. So acceptance would be, I want to change the theme of this conversation, not cyberbullying, but acceptance, because whatever that looks like for you, let it be what it's going to be. Drink the tea or not.
What do you think about this? Because I don't want to make it seem like I'm pushing back. One of my aunts used to say acceptance and tolerance. And to me, I don't think it's like disrespectful, but I'm just like, but who are we to like accept? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are, like you said, like with the label and stuff, like they've always been here. So maybe they should accept us. You know what I'm saying? Not maybe they should accept us. That's what I'm saying. Like who should be accepted or tolerating? Like we should just be. We should just be here. Like we're here. We're all here already. So who's accepting who?
And so let me be clear. Tolerance, I don't like that word. When I say acceptance, though, I mean accepting who you are, like not wanting to subscribe to what's societal norm or what's deemed as the standard of beauty. Like accept you, like be who you are, walk in that truth, and whether they like it or not, fuck them.
Or if they're gross, just don't fuck them at all. I get you on that one. They don't deserve all that smoke. We're moving on to Chris Rock. Are you good though? My bad.
Yep, no, good.
I'm so sorry. And you were right. Like we talked in the pre-show. She did have that stuff to mention, and sometimes my brain goes too fast.
All good. I'm gonna say what I need to say.
Yeah, please. No. Please get me all good. Especially we're missing Cliff. Like that's great. I'm glad somebody needs to keep me in check. I love it. All right, so we're moving on to Chris Rock and Will Smith. Again, I went to the stand-up last week at MSG. I got to hand pound Spike Lee. It was crazy. That was amazing. I should have known it was going to be a special night when I saw him outside. I was like, what? Spike Lee's here. Like, he must know something that I don't. And Dave Chappelle came out. I discussed that all last week. He was a guest star. But he even mentioned, he cracked a joke. A lot of people are saying it because a lot of people leaked the footage from Atlanta, which I'm not surprised. New York, they made us like zip up our phones and stuff like that. I should have known Atlanta would have cracked the code. I should have known. So they videotaped one of the jokes that he made about Will Smith, and it was when Dave Chappelle was talking about tackling, and when Kevin Hart said it too. He was like, and it was like the guy, back to beauty standards. The guy had dreads. He looked, from what they said, he looked homeless. That's what they said.
Oh no.
And so the guy tackled him, and he said, what was that, Will Smith? And so like everybody, like, you know, that was like one of his first times saying it. And he still hasn't done an interview. He still hasn't acknowledged any of the apologies. There's only one. There's one that was out there on Instagram. Oh, they're both on Instagram. And then he just did an interview that he played on Instagram. So my point is, what do you think about all this? What do you think? I know that it's been some time since the Academy Awards. I believe that was in April. There was a lot of backlash. We never had an episode on it, so you can touch on whatever you want on it. Yeah, from the apology, from the slap to the first apology to that now this very publicized apology that Chris Rock has not accepted yet. He did say it too. He directed to Chris Rock. Oh, we could play the video. He directed to Chris Rock. So we'll play the video first, and then you're gonna start it off, and you can take it from there. Chris Rock, Tony Rock, and the mother. Let's play the video real quick. It's just the clips. It's not the whole thing. Good Morning America.
Why didn't you apologize to Chris in your acceptance speech? I was fogged out by that point. It's all fuzzy. I've reached out to Chris, and the message that came back is that he's not ready to talk.
All right, that clip was 3 minutes, so we weren't going to go all into that. But and if you want to watch the full clip, go on YouTube. It's around 3 minutes. That curated clip, I could put it in the comment section as well. Yeah, what do you think, Nay?
So I'm going to just go from beginning, middle to end. In this, starting at the slap, I thought it was very interesting how people immediately thought that or said that, oh, he was reacting because Jada told him to say something, or Jada told him to react. Being a woman and having a lot of men in my family and in my life, if I'm ever, and this has happened before, disrespected publicly, my family members, my brothers, my cousins, uncles, they're going to jump to my defense immediately. And a lot of times that looks like, you know, like if they were dogs, they would be showing their fangs, basically. So it's like when he did it, in my mind, did I think it was right? No, but I thought that it was very much a natural and normal reaction just because I've seen it so many times. So with the apology, I feel like he apologized. Cool. Does Chris need to accept it? No, because it's not for him to, like, Will, if you were apologizing to apologize, you did what you did and you're taking ownership. Cool. He doesn't have to accept that apology. You know, that's for him to deal with and not on you. So also, I'm glad that he addressed the fact of it had nothing to do with Jada. Like, it was him in that moment. He had other shit going on in his mind. Because when it happened, I was really thinking to myself, like, this was definitely a personal decision. He felt like he needed to protect his wife. And so that's what he did in that moment to feel like he needed to protect his wife. I've been in situations where I've been disrespected or embarrassed, and my brother's reaction was exactly the same. My uncle's reactions have been exactly the same, where it's like, defend her. So in the heat of it, he made a mistake. In the aftermath of it, he said he's been working on self. He's doing some thinking about what's happened. And now he's addressing it and saying, I was wrong. I apologize. He talked about the fact of, and I think for me, that's what it was. The environment, being at the awards, it wasn't just Chris that was affected by it. It just was like this whole big old thing. And he acknowledged that. And I think that that's amazing. And that's a beautiful thing. That's growth. Y'all know me. I'm a therapist. So I'm all about understanding the consequences of our actions. Like, you did what you did, and that's cool. If you can accept the consequences and understand how we grow from that point, because we can't go back and change it. So acknowledge what was, accept what, there's that word again, accept what was, embrace it, and then move forward. So my whole thing is, I think that's cool. I think it's good that he was able to kind of do some self-work, reflect, come back and address it, because like it or not, he's a public figure. Does he owe anybody an explanation? No, but I think it's dope that he gave it. Me as a fan of Will Smith, even after the slap, I didn't give a fuck about that. Like, I'm still a fan of Will Smith, and I think that, you know, he's an amazing actor. Doesn't discredit anything that he's done. Like, I was shocked, but I was like, okay, well, here we are. What's next? So I'm glad that he addressed it. I'm glad that he's like working on himself and is in a space where he can be like, you know what? This definitely was not how it should have went down. Let me go ahead and apologize in this very real moment. And then we move forward from here. So that's my take on it.
It's a great take. It's not too different than mine. The only difference is so I appreciate your uncles and even my family, and I get it. I would probably react almost the same. Okay. So in different settings, the Academy Awards, and that's up for debate too, by the way, like, you know, especially historically, what that has done to the shade of Will Smith. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, that wasn't really a welcoming place for people of his color to begin with. So it's not like, oh, you should act right. You know how people used to say, like, oh, act right in front of white people, that kind of stuff.
Right.
I can get why people will be like, Vince, what are you talking about? Like, why shouldn't we be ourselves? And again, culturally, almost everybody defends a woman. Almost in all cultures, yes, they may treat women like crap, but for some reason within their tribe, they go ham. And I disagree with the way that was handled. I do get that people can be inflamed, but I don't personally think that women need to be defended in that way. I don't think that, like, in my personal opinion, I don't, and even when I've done it, or even like when my emotions are raging and stuff like that, I still think that I don't think that women can like enter like an all gladiator contest with like bigger men or, you know, bigger females or bigger anybody. I don't think that's like a good idea. That's why I don't think anybody should be hitting nobody. But when it came to that night, I agree with Mark. I think he had a lot of deep issues. I think there was a lot of pent up stuff. I think it's hard because Will is like one of those people, no matter what race, culture, heritage, religion, he's pretty universal. And he has brought up an image that's like pretty much Teflon. There's very few people, like, even when you like have big stories like Tom Cruise, I'm trying to think of people that are like in the upper echelon, like you can make up stories and it just doesn't really affect them. Beyonce and Jay-Z, there's just so many, like, and Will had entered that realm and he even hung out with those people. He was even hanging out with those people. There's people, they would like I remember one time they were saying, it got so crazy that they were saying that Jada and him were Scientologists, and then they've made all types of stories about their sex life and their open marriage, which we kind of guessed and alluded to for years. There was rumors of him with Margot Robbie and stuff like that. So it could be a lot. That's my thing. It could be a lot. Even when you're a celebrity, I know you sign up for it, but like that's a lot. That's a lot for someone's mental health. And so Nate touched on it before. Jada Pinkett Smith, she's a great actress in her own right. Actor, I like to say actor. I don't like to denigrate that. My aunt, she was an actor, and she said we're all actors. So I agree with that. And especially when they I think that's a big reason why we've talked about it before. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole, but I think that's a big reason why women don't get paid that much in the Hollywood world, because they separated it, because they segregated it. They have a Best Director award, but for some reason there's a Best Female Actor and there's a Best Male Actor. And there's a big reason why there's like men don't like make more money in films, especially that we've seen. Anyway, I'm like going down the rabbit hole. But with Will Smith, Jada is a good actor in her own right, and she has alopecia, and they have actually a history. Chris Rock made a joke, not just about the alopecia. He was at a hosting. He wasn't hosting this year. He was like just presenting the award. One year he hosted, and he made a joke, and he said that Will and Jada are protesting the Academy Awards because it was Oscars So White. And it was when Chris Rock had to be brought in because the Oscars literally had almost nobody of color on their ballot. And so they brought in Chris Rock for Damage Control, and he joked about it and stuff. And he said that Jada was protesting, and he goes, well, that's like me trying to get into Rihanna's panties. I wasn't invited. And I'm like, ooh. And so it went from there. It stemmed from there. And Will and Jada, not for some reason, sorry, from then had actually not been happy with that joke. And so I don't even know all the other ones. Supposedly, I read an article. There were other ones in between. Like, he is very regular at making fun of Jada and Will on Comedy Tour. And he's my favorite comedian, by the way. And that doesn't mean I've seen all his stand-up. Like Chris Rock, a lot of them, especially that they're long-time career comedians, they go on the road a lot. So you're not going to always see all their material. And so but Jada kept up. Jada kept up, and she had enough. So at the Oscars, and you even see her like shaking her head. She was upset. So a lot of people feel that he got triggered by that. So I get it. I don't want to call it animalistic because, like, to be honest, as racist, I don't want to be like, oh, a black guy like was in the crowd and stuff like that. But to be honest, I do think that I know. I think that it was very freaking. I think it wasn't very mature, to be honest. I don't care who. I don't think, and especially like if I'm a partner, I don't care who it is, man, female. I couldn't believe that she didn't even try to stop it. I couldn't even, not even like, no, Will, or like nothing. Like it felt like, and again, I hate this, like bringing animals into it. It felt like he was a dog. It felt like, go get him for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't like feeling like that in any partnership. Like, if you are not able to handle yourself, but then again, I'm talking to people. I know that I'm in the minority of this. A lot of people feel that a man in that role is the protector. So again, I'm in the minority of that, but I don't feel like anybody needs that kind of protection. I feel like when it comes to that, and especially in a stage like that, and especially in a moment like that, he had been carefully curating his whole life. And so in that moment, now you're this badass Will Smith. And it just showed that there are, like, at that moment, he's Uncle Will. He's not Father Denzel. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Denzel even brought him to the side. He was like, dude, you can't, like, everybody did. So I felt like it was
people fucked up though. And
right.
I feel like,
oh, that doesn't mean that I admonish him though. That doesn't mean, I still agree with you. I think he's a great actor. I think he's built up a reputation. Not just because it was carefully curated doesn't mean that it wasn't great. Cool. I like it. I enjoy it. I think I'm ready to rock. I'm ready to rock with Bad Boys 4. I think that it's Chris Rock is my favorite comedian. I do think he's owed an apology. I don't think that Chris Rock is obliged to accept that apology. I think one day they will. I think the authentic version of Will would do this on the side. I don't even think he should be saying all this. I think this is kind of cheesy Will to begin with. And that's what we love about him anyway.
You think for him to acknowledge his fuck up?
Good Morning America, not even just acknowledging it, like saying like, oh, I reached out already, like to, like to show everybody like, oh yeah, I tried. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, go on this, be a real person. I'm not saying go stalk Chris Rock, but wait. He's doing this as damage control. He's doing this because there's a bunch of even Bad Boys 4 is on pause. Sony announced that like all of his projects are on pause. He's doing this to free up income.
They all do that though.
Like, I'm not blaming them.
Like, that's why everybody that's been like blasted in the media for doing something, they have to come back and apologize about it. Like, I feel like an apology was definitely owed to Chris, and who he apologized to, cool, but making it a whole spectacle, I feel like it's because he's in the public eye. Like, he had to make it theatrical and dramatized and whatever. But I don't know. This is a
Did you know that Will has 8 people on his team that just work on his
spicy
Instagram alone?
combo. Look at the comments.
Right? I know, it's great. No, you get great I love when you bring up topics because you bring up probably the best, to be honest, because they're like socio and they're not just like in the news. Like you bring a lot of that in. My question is, not question. Did you know that he has 8 people? It might have expanded, to be honest, especially with his PR at the moment. He has 8 people that work on his Instagram alone. He has other people that work on his other channels, but he has 8 people that he employs that work on his Instagram. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like he has always carefully, like tried to work on his image, and I don't blame him for it. Yo, if that's the route you want to go, Beyonce, Jay-Z, if that's the route you want to go, dude, it makes you more money, it makes you more marketable, it makes you more family friendly, and I don't even consider it fake. Whatever, what's considered fake? What's considered fake? Like go, like you said with the bodies and stuff. Like what? Like eye of the beholder. There's just so, and there's Photoshop out there. Like who knows what's real? Just like you said, just be real with yourself.
Well, we're gonna have to. I want to have a convo about this, because I have so many things that I want to say in regards to.
Go ahead.
I don't want to like drag this out longer.
You're fine. You're fine at the moment. You're fine. I think we're good. Where are we at? 106. I think we're good at that. We're not going to get to 2 hours, but let me show some of these comments. And
we are not getting to 2 hours.
No. But say what you got to say while I'm going through these comments. Go ahead.
But yeah, just pretty much people are real. People have these very human responses to stressors in different situations. And I feel like when they're in the public eye and they're celebrities, they're seen like they're supposed to always be able to handle it like they're in the public eye. And that's not always the case. Like he had said, in which you could tell, you can look at Will and see that there was some things going on behind the scenes that we just probably were not aware of. And he was dealing with a lot of shit. And so that reaction was not, like I said, it shocked me because that's not something that I thought he would do. But at the same time, I'm like, he's having a very human response right now, like the buildup.
Who was
having been?
Who was the? Was it August Alsina?
August.
That's a lot to deal with too. We never really got
that too, and then the media and everybody talking,
and then they brought on the red table talk for that. That was a lot.
And then like the relationship with him and Chris was always, there was always this back and forth thing. There was more conversation about him and Jada outside of what people in the public know about. So it's just kind of like Billy was saying here, like when you make a joke, cool. You have a problem, cool. But when you continuously like throw salt on an open wound, at some point, I'm going to take that personal and my reaction is going to be something different. Like,
good point.
People are making jokes. It's comedy. I get that. But when it's a constant comedy and I'm always the butt of the joke, at what point does it stop being, oh, this is to be expected because he's a comedian, versus no, you're attacking me. You're attacking me. You're attacking my family. You're attacking my wife. And now I'm going to react. So I just feel like people hang a lot. There's like on both ends and there's me in the middle. Like, do I think it was right? No, but I think that it was a very natural response over time. And maybe in the moment because of all the other shit that he was dealing with and going through and having a deeply rooted issues.
It's not fair. His
reaction was, unacceptable, but shit happens. And
no, I agree with you.
All that to say, I'm just glad that he's acknowledged that there was some shit going on with himself and that he's working on it. At the end of the day, that's really people that are in the public eye, like they got to work on their shit, just like any normal person has to work on their shit. So I'm glad that he's working on his shit.
I have a question for you. And it is natural. These are all that. That's what I said before. And when I brought up like the don't act like that in white people, it's it's not true. Actually, it's just something that has been passed down. What do you think about that? Like as far
I'm sorry, I didn't even hear what you said because I was reading the comments.
My bad. All good. My granddaddy a long time ago, and I'm not even full black. I'm half black, and he used to say to me, as a black man or a black person, black woman, you have to be triple times better than your counterparts. You have to be triple times. And so that was one of the reasons why I felt really bad too. And that's why I didn't want to jump off of Will's side right away, because I was just like, that's, again, not only just being Will Smith, but being a black man, and even being a black woman. There's a lot that, again, having to be perfect. So with the Academy Awards, there's barely any of us winning those type of awards. Like I said, Denzel, he won it twice. That award show's been on for like 90 something years, and there's only a handful of people of color that have won the awards. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's so and that was also the first year it was a full black production team. So that's why that was another stain. And Questlove winning, it was right after. Everybody loves Questlove, so it like kind of dampened the mood. So that's what another thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, it kind of proves some racist people out there, right? It kind of like, that's what I'm trying to say. So how do you feel about that? Like, that's a lot. Like, Will Smith not only has to be a perfect actor, but he also has to represent. He doesn't have to, but there's some people who assume that he has to represent the black race and be like, what did you do? What did you do? You just set us back. Is that fair? Is that fair?
Nope. Not fair. Just like same with like Bill Cosby, and people felt like he was a representation of the professional black man. He don't represent no professional black man. No, that's not, like, they're human. They are people outside of this role that they have. Yes, they're in the public eye. Yes, they're supposed to act a certain way, but they don't represent us as a whole. And I think that that's not fair, because in their mind, I feel like they are told that and they train for that, where it's like, when you get out here on this platform, people are looking at you as the spokesperson of this. And that's a lot of pressure in itself. I kind of agree with the idea that there's a time and a place for everything. And the way that it happened was inappropriate. I never said that it wasn't.
I didn't assume that.
I never said that.
I agree with you.
It was a good idea. I just said that it was, in that moment, that was his natural reaction, and it is what it is. But with it being the Oscars, with it being the, you had your boy Will Packer, you had the whole black production team, you had so many different monumental moments in the night. It definitely tainted the whole piece of it. And I feel like that's an added stressor and weight as well. Like, it just kind of adds to, I've heard that too. You said, your grandfather said, my mom raised me like that. As a black woman, you have to be 100 times better than anybody else out there, because not only are you black, but you're a woman on top of that. So black is seen as a thing, and then being a woman is seen as a thing. So now you gotta, so I feel like a lot of African American people carry that just in their day to day. And then add on top of that, you're a super celebrity. And then on top of that, you have to balance the good and the bad. Like we were talking before, you've got stuff coming at you, positive and negatively. It seems to be even more when you're famous. Like, people just want to gun for the celebrities harder. I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Just to, and not to like pick on and not to deep dive in the WNBA, NBA. I think that's apples and oranges. Not really. I get what you're saying. Male and female sports and marketing, and we're not going to get into the unisex stuff again. But in my opinion, just like even back in the Shakespeare days, where like women weren't even allowed to be on stage, like Shakespeare used to. But that's true. It was outlawed. It was outlawed. Women couldn't be on the stage. That was the reason why he had all males on stage. I know that's funny, but like, it's true. Women were outlawed.
Oh no, I was laughing at Mark.
Oh, my bad. And so, in my opinion, I'm not even going to go too hard. Viola Davis, when she won the award, she said, we don't want anything handed to us. We just want the opportunity. So in both of those instances, if you gave the WNBA the same marketing opportunities as men, and some of the, and what, like that, the NBA didn't start off like with major popularity. No, they started like, they put marketing bucks behind it. They went like very meticulous, the MJ days, all that kind of stuff. So the same thing with the box office of Hollywood. Men get all the opportunities before even numbers arrive. Before, like, they just say to themselves, no, this is going to happen. What's his name? Ridley Scott. I'll make this point one more time. Exodus, where it had all white people in it, even though it was an Egyptian movie. And they asked him why he did that. And he goes, you try selling a movie that highlights people of color to other producers. Meanwhile, the very next year, with what's his name, Jason Bayoga, and what's her name, Daisy Ridley. They both were a female and a male. They headlined, and that was the biggest blockbuster of the year. So he was wrong. People of color, minorities, marginalized communities, they have a story to tell. What I was saying before, average people, people that don't look like what Hollywood has been projecting on us for the last 100 years. Those are the real people. I remember when Chris Rock, he was like, he goes, you mean to tell me when they were filming that movie, Brad Pitt, Julia Roberts, it was called The Mexican. He goes, where were the Mexicans? He goes, you in California, you're in lower California. You can't find Mexicans. So back to the point. If you give women an opportunity, the same opportunities as men, how would you know? How would you know? Let's see it happen. Let's see it happen. That's my point when it comes to that. When people go, oh, well, men make more. That's actually not true. The soccer division, they were showing that they were getting better ratings, and that's why they won that case. And now they have equal pay in soccer. When it comes to the World Cup, when it comes to international play, the women have the exact salary now, and they have the exact gym equipment. They have the same exact media exposure, and that's what happens. Even in the WNBA, they just made a point where black women in the WNBA, the ones that became MVP and stuff like that, won the awards, they were covered 3 times less than their white counterparts that didn't win anything. So the media, and including the WNBA themselves, they're selecting the people they want to make those dollars. So that's my point. I don't think it has to do with sex. I don't think men are better actors than women. I don't think that they generate more in the box office than women. I think that women get less opportunities, and that's why. That's my point. What do you think about that? My bad. I didn't mean to put a stamp on that.
Oh, I thought we were putting a stamp on that.
Oh, we can.
I agree. I don't think that men are better actors than women. I like what you said, piggybacking off of what Viola said, not asking for any handouts, not asking you to just give us something just because we're marginalized, but give us the opportunity to show you what we can do, and let's go from there.
Totally agree. Thank you. Thank you for being less wordy than me. All right, we're down to the cool down. I don't think we have enough time for the Powerball, but you had one. You had mental health. Get us on. What is our
just real quick, guys?
Yeah, please.
As the summer is winding down, I always like to make sure that I'm being mindful and encouraging and reminding you guys to be mindful to take care of yourselves. A lot of people have kids. Even if you don't have kids, preparing for the next couple of months as the year comes to an end can be very stressful. There's a lot of holidays that are coming up if you celebrate. There's a lot of coldness depending on where you live. And we know with colder weather, our mental health starts to decline. Our ability to get outside and be in the sun and do different things starts to get limited. So as we enter into these next couple of months and school's back in session and work starts to get hectic and the holidays are around the corner, let's make sure that we're utilizing these next couple of weeks to really focus on ourselves, prepare ourselves mentally, take that trip that you've been wanting to trip, take that, venture out to the beach, go eat at that restaurant, go visit those friends, go have that drink, whatever the case may be. Do your thing and take care of you and really get yourself and your mind in a space to be ready for the next couple of months that are coming so that we don't have, as a therapist, we just see such an increase in suicide rates. In the winter months, we see an increase in substance abuse problems. So I'm just asking you guys to take care of yourselves. I know last week you did a whole segment on the mental health check-in with TJ. And I think that that's amazing. Like, I always do that with my clients. I do that with my friends. I do that with my family because it's very important. Take care of yourselves, put you first, be a little selfish. There's nothing wrong with that. Spend the money today. it'll come back, because tomorrow is not promised. That's what I always tell myself. If I want to go somewhere, or I want to do something, or I want to treat myself, spend the money today, Nay, because it can come back. Tomorrow is not promised, and just be happy. Oh, thanks, guys. I love you guys.
Oh, let's get that vibe one. That was a good one, Clip. Thank you. Yes, they are A1. They are A1. I love it. I love it.
The summer has been quick as hell, right, Mark? Listen, and even if you don't do nothing else, Nagus is coming up. For those of you that don't know, you're going to hear a lot about it next month.
Oh, yeah.
I have renamed August Nagus because that's my birth month, and I go hard for my birthday.
You couldn't tell she was a Leo, did you?
The entire month. And so if you don't do anything else, at some point in August, go out, have a drink, take a selfie, take a video, send it to me on Instagram, shoot it to me on YouTube, whatever the case may be. Celebrate with your girl next month for her birthday, and let me see it. Let's have fun in the next month, and then let's just get prepared for the end of the year.
All right, and no dick pics, guys. No dick pics.
No,
we're excluding that. Please don't start it off with that. I agree with everyone. Nay's vibes they're on point all the time, but like I'm glad everybody's noticing it. No, mental health is so important. I've done a little bit of telehealth myself. I've been to therapy a little bit when I was younger. I'm with Jay-Z. I think everybody should have a social worker or a counselor or someone to talk to. Like, I don't understand like how that's not like a God-given right, like breathing and stuff like that. But you know, people, yeah, I know some people think that that's too intrusive, but whatever. Yeah. So not to be funny, but when I worked at a place, speaking of light, and like it is true. Not just like so Nay is a counselor, she is a social worker and a therapist. And so, but in other professions too, science, they believe that less vitamin D is gang. That's right.
Hey.
August is great too. August is amazing. I'm ready for the Nagus. That's right. Me too. Yo, I didn't get no invite yet. How'd y'all get an invite before me? What's up with that? So the vitamin D. So one time I was in an elevator and it was an orange elevator, and they did that on purpose. They were like, orange is something that like people like universally like are very happy to see. It's a neutral color. In the morning they go, ooh, that's nice. So colors affect mood. So same thing with the like people that live in Alaska, like, or in Japan, there's not that much sun like all the time either, like, you know, during the winter months. So I agree with you. Like that has, so my story is two people. Ernesto, I'm calling you out. Yo, he has a vitamin D light, and it's supposed to bring your mood out. And one time we were hanging out in his room, and we smoking a blunt as always. And he has this vitamin D light in my face, and I'm like, what is this? And he goes, oh man, Vince, it's supposed to bring up your mood. Vitamin D, you need sunlight, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I realize that. I go to the beach for that. But what why is it in my face? Like, I feel like I'm being interrogated by a detective. Like, it's like all like he goes, it's supposed to like lower down your stress. It's stressing me out. Like, I was like, that can't be the case. It can't, like, it's all in my grill. Like, I can't stand this out. Whatever the purpose and intent, they failed. Like, it's not making me feel better. So yes, I like natural sun. And on top of that, there was a sequel. So I'm working in an office, and all of a sudden, you see my big forehead. You see all the lights shining off of it. Realistic lighting, bling. But all of a sudden, I felt it. I was like this. I was at my desk, and I'm like, "What? This seems familiar. This light." And I look at the desk, and I see the vitamin D light again, and I go, and I don't know why I said it. You know how you like, you know what it is, but you like have to say it out loud. Go, what the fuck is that? And before I could even like finish, she was like, just like Ernesto, she was like as if she was in a cult. Vince, it's a vitamin D light. Like, she gave me like the whole infomercial. She was like, it's supposed to bring up your mood. It's supposed to make you happier. You need sunlight, Vince. I'm like, yo, could you put it that way at least? Like, I don't want it shine in my face. Like, it was like the bat signal was in my face. I was like, no. I don't need this vitamin D. No, thank you. No, thank you. Go to the beach. But yes,
hilarious.
Check on your mental health, guys. She is so right. She's 1,000% correct. Whatever way it does it, whether it's a bubble bath, if you do the vitamin D light, just keep it out of my way because my mental health is important too. So just isolate that. Put it in a shade somewhere. Put yourself in a towel. Don't shine it in my way. Give me real sunlight. Again, whether it's a walk. Sometimes when I talk to my superiors, I go take a walk in my park, some nature, whatever floats your boat. To be honest, just as long as it's not hurting anybody. Just as long as your de-stressor is not causing violence to someone, slapping someone, disrespecting them. The Keep Up podcast is all for it.
Right.
All right. Do you have any last shots before we go on this cool down?
No, that's about it.
Tell us where we can follow you, Nay. Everywhere we can get your book.
Oh, yeah. So hit your girl up, Instagram at INAE4, INAE, the number 4, or author Janae. That's also on IG. Link in my bio. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just search as Told by Nay. Pop in. I do my podcast every Thursday night. It's live, 8 p.m. Amazing conversations, amazing guests. A little bit different vibe than Keep Up, but kind of along the same, where it's like current events, hot topics, whatever it is. You get my perspective on it, and then sometimes I have a guest come through to give me their perspective. My book, Dreamer, is available on barnesandnobles.com. Check it out. And like I love to say, put some Nay in your life. You'll love it here.
All right. And parting shot to people that like take shots of me. People that say common sense don't really have too much of it. No, I'm joking. I'm messing with you. Anyway, I just can't help it be petty. I can't help it. So yes, please subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to her Facebook, her YouTube channel. That's where the live is, and also you can go check out the recording on each spot. Go check out Life of Mark. That's a great YouTube channel too. He's a friend of the podcast. Sammy and John, Cliff Focus. Like I said, he has.
I'm gonna have to go get subscribe to Mark's channel. I didn't know that.
Oh, it's really good. Oh, and I'm on it. I'm on it a few times actually.
Nice.
We just created a playlist actually. It's called Friends of Keep Up, and we have some of your episodes in it. We have a bunch. Yeah, anybody that's associated with the show, and you're able to add to it too if you feel like there's friends. Oh, Crazy but True. I have a couple episodes in there. Yeah, it helps with like people finding our podcast. Nay, that's right, Nay.
I don't know who he is, but I love him. Like,
we love him too.
He's on my IG. He follows my show. Like,
maybe he's from Generation X. Maybe he's from Billy Badass. What's the name of the Road Dog, Jesse James, right? Like, did you watch wrestling? Did you watch wrestling? Oh, Billy, whatever. Anyway, no problem. I'll be producing more soon. I get you. This show had a long hiatus. It's about energy. And it takes a lot to, and Nate knows it. It takes a lot to make any content. And so you got to be, and just like she mentioned with the mental health, you got to be in the right headspace, in my opinion. If people carry on, that's great, good. But me, I have to be in good headspace to make shows like this or collaborate with Nay, people like Nay, talented people like her. It takes a lot of energy, so I want to bring the right energy. So again, subscribe to Still Insane, subscribe to all of our stuff, get on our TikTok, get on our YouTube shorts. We make really funny stuff. Nay's going to start giving us some funny videos soon. No pressure. But again, she has a great.
I love me some TikTok. No pressure at all.
No, but she's great on TikTok too. Even on her own solo account, she has really funny stuff. It's like a snippet of what she talks about on her show, just like even funnier. Again, please comment, subscribe. You guys are wonderful. You guys are so interactive. Thank you. I know that's a lot of Cliff's people. I really love you guys. And you better shut up, listen up, and keep up with your homeboy, Still Insane, as told by Nay, the Keep Up crew. Cliff, thank you very much. Over and out, homies.